his training camps were the stuff of legend. I mean, he would spar 100 rounds a week sometimes, which is just insane.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock you.
Joe Rogan has weighed in on Crawford's intense training for the Canelo fight, praising his elite switch-hitting skills and adaptability, which he believes could neutralize Canelo's raw power and experience despite the size gap. However, he warns that Crawford must be strong enough to absorb Canelo's punishing shots and avoid being overpowered. Interview.
Crawford's about to fight.
Yes, he's going to fight Canelo.
Oh, man.
I just hope he's big enough. I hope he's big enough to keep that dude off him because Canelo hits so hard, man.
That's one dude that, like, I believe all the shit he be talking.
Crawford? Yeah. Oh, he's good.
He don't just be saying shit.
They tried to say that, like, Errol Spence was damaged because of what Crawford did to him because he was damaged from the car accident. I'm like, maybe. Or maybe Crawford would have done that 3 years ago. I think he's that good. He's just so skillful. He's so slick. And when he gets, and he's also the best guy in the sport at switch hitting. He'll go from southpaw to orthodox and be just as good and trip you up. Like you think he's going to start southpaw, he starts orthodox. You prepare for orthodox, he's fighting southpaw. He feels like he's got you timed better orthodox, he'll switch.
Rogan is clear about his stance, openly backing Crawford in the mega bout against Canelo Alvarez. On a recent Joe Rogan Experience episode with Jim Lampley, when asked who he favors, he immediately answered, Crawford, adding, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think Canelo is slowing down. He praises Crawford's slick footwork, adaptability, and strategic finesse, while acknowledging the significant size and power advantage Canelo holds.
Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Because how does Crawford compete with that size? Crawford is leapfrogging. He goes to super middleweight.
47 to 54 and now to 68.
And the Madrigal fight in 54 is a difficult fight.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock you.
1000%.
I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was young. He uses strength and conditioning. There's very few fighters that just train using skill. Just train skills. Like George St. Pierre did that for a certain period of his career.
I wonder if there's anybody left in boxing who trains just using the gym skills. There were a lot of them when I was first involved in the sport who would never have touched a weight.
Right.
You know, they subscribed totally to the notion that that was negative.
Right. And the worst case, I mean, they definitely did calisthenics, but that was it. It was just body weight exercises, you know, which brings us to Crawford, which I think is really interesting. The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Fascinating. Because how does Crawford compete with that size? And, you know, we have to recognize, okay, well, when Canelo fought Floyd, it was 152 pounds, right? So he had dropped down, which was a struggle for him, which is why Floyd was so brilliant in getting him to go down to 152, because he knew he would be drained.
Was it 52 or 50?
Rogan also cautioned Crawford against facing Canelo without careful preparation, pointing to the dangers posed by Canelo's size and power. He called it likely the biggest fight in boxing and confirmed he'd be watching. On his podcast, Rogan even mixed in a discussion about cartel mule runners while analyzing the matchup, blending fight breakdown with unexpected cultural commentary.
Look at the elite of the elite boxers. To a man, to every one of them, they're disciplined. Yeah. And they stay focused. I'm so excited to see this fight with Canelo Alvarez because I think the Saudi Arabians have so much money. They're throwing so much money at boxing. And the guy who's the head of boxing over there wants to make that fight happen. I think Terence Crawford, forget about the 3 weight classes. I think he could beat Canelo.
I think he can too.
On the Joe Rogan Experience, Crawford reflected on his 2023 clash with Errol Spence Jr., crediting his dominant performance to meticulous preparation. Everything you see fight night, we drilled it time and time again, he told Rogan, attributing his smooth execution to relentless repetition and training. Addressing concerns about Canelo's size, Crawford remarked, he might be bigger than me, but big don't mean stronger.
Practicing it, you know, that was something that when I had the cast on, I was like, man, I love the gym so much. I'm like, man, I'm not leaving the gym. Like, I'm going practice with this left. And that's when I got the left stronger, because at first, when I go southpaw, it was only, you know, my right. Then when my hand got messed up, I started working on the left, and it started getting stronger and stronger. And I started getting more accurate, because at first, just throw it, just be throwing it. And then, you know, it just got to a point where my left was actually way strong.
Teddy Atlas views the Canelo versus Crawford clash as a classic battle of size versus speed. He notes Canelo's raw power and home field advantages, while Crawford may edge him in agility and ring IQ. Drawing parallels to Pacquiao's upset over De La Hoya, Atlas highlights Crawford's elite instincts, timing, and elusive style. Despite Canelo's dominance at higher weight classes, Atlas believes Crawford is very, very special, capable of overcoming physical disadvantages with savvy, versatility, and intangible skills that could decide the fight.
Maybe he's a little overrated.
Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. Really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class. Can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe.
During training, Crawford has revealed a striking body transformation ahead of his super middleweight showdown with Canelo Alvarez. After competing at 154 pounds, he's bulked up to around 185 pounds, with earlier footage showing him close to cruiserweight size. Despite the added muscle, he remains lean and defined, a testament to disciplined training and conditioning. Still, strength coach Rob Aosta cautions that jumping from 154 straight to 168 and beyond could hinder Crawford's speed and stamina against Canelo's elite power.
On size, Crawford coming in the ring, and Crawford doing everything he can to match Canelo's power, possibly size, and to, at a minimum, try to just maintain what speed he already possesses. Because, you know, when you go up in weight, sometimes you compromise speed. So we know Crawford and his team are doing everything they can to, at a minimum, maintain his speed. But the question came up, okay, since Crawford is looking to come in the ring fast, powerful, we know he's already brilliant. Shit, what if Canelo comes in lighter? I'm like, lighter? Yeah, what happens if Canelo says, you know what, I'm not gonna try to come and just outweigh him by 20 pounds on fight night, because I realize I'm into somebody who's very agile and who's probably gonna be faster than me, and although I have timing, he has timing too, so I can't afford to be 2 or 3 steps behind Terence Crawford in my speed.
Boxing coach Greg Hackett doubts a knockout win for Terence Crawford over Canelo Alvarez is realistic in today's 12-round era, noting Canelo's durability and unwillingness to go down easily. He argues Crawford lacks both fight-ending power and the desire to stand and trade heavy shots. Instead, Hackett predicts a technical masterclass from Bud, emphasizing skill over flash, and suggests only in the old 15-round format might Crawford have the time and stamina to wear Canelo down for a stoppage. Meanwhile, tensions are rising as the fight approaches. Canelo remarked that Crawford would find out what happens when a good fighter moves up against a great fighter. Crawford fired back, so that means you're a good fighter and Dimitri Bivol is a great fighter, right? Every time you stepped up, you lost, a sharp retort referencing Canelo's defeat to Bivol.
He will do going against somebody like a Canelo at 168.
I think Bud, man, one thing I love about Bud, he willing to challenge himself. And when you're willing to challenge yourself, you can surprise yourself. But that's a hell of a feeling. I think, to be honest, you don't want to sit there and brawl with Canelo, but at some point you're gonna have to fight him. You know what I'm saying? You can't let Canelo press you. You know what I'm saying? Because he's great at that, and he a bully. He is a bully. But Bud, I believe, got bully tendencies too. You know what I'm saying? And he could be crafty. But I think if he approached it the way he approached Spence, then we get a way better fight than people think. Now, what I saw when he approached Spence was, I can't make a mistake. I can't let him do too much. I can't let him be a bully. I think if he go at Canelo the same way, then we get a great fight on our hands. Not that I'm sorry. I'm not saying he's gonna be that dominant, but I'm just saying I think we get a great fight on our hands.
Andre Ward, the former two-division world champion, offered a candid endorsement of Crawford ahead of his clash with Canelo Alvarez. "I'm not betting Terence Crawford against anybody right now," Ward said, adding that Crawford is someone you can bet the house on. While acknowledging the major weight jump and the danger of the matchup, Ward stressed that someone would have to prove they can break Crawford's will, and he hasn't seen anyone do it yet.
I'm going with Terence Crawford, you know. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show.
Dimitri Bivol, the WBA light heavyweight champion renowned for his technical mastery, has voiced strong admiration for Crawford. In interviews, he has called Crawford not just good but amazing, saying young fighters should study him as a blueprint for learning boxing. Ahead of the Canelo Alvarez fight, Bivol again praised Crawford as one of his favorite boxers, highlighting his combination of size and elite skills, and affirming his belief that Crawford can beat Canelo.
I want to quickly ask you a couple of questions. Crawford, Spence. I know you watched the fight and you spoke about Crawford. How good is Crawford?
Crawford is amazing, not just good. He's amazing, and
he said the same thing about you.
Thank you, Terence. But I think he should be in the book for
really? Is that good?
How to learn boxing, you know?
Really?
He's a very good fighter. Yeah, I like to watch his fights.
Pound for pound number one?
Yeah, probably he is now because he is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes.
It's crazy.
He's a great fighter, yeah. To be honest, I didn't see, I think, Crawford in real life. I don't know how big he is. But the size, you know, when I came to boxing gym and my coach told me that one of the rules is like respect the weight classes, you know. You should respect weight classes. But he has a very good skill. He's one of my favorite fighters, active fighters.
Bernard Hopkins believes Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence Jr. had lasting effects, claiming the punishment Spence absorbed effectively took 4 fights off his career. He suggested the damage has prematurely aged the former champion, impacting his future performance and durability. Hopkins argued that both the psychological and physical toll will linger, altering Spence's career trajectory beyond the immediate loss. This view highlights Crawford's prowess not just as a fight winner, but as a fighter whose impact endures long after the final bell.
I believe Crawford, even though, fought twice, throughout the year, Crawford, was...
But look who he beat.
Undisputed.
Look who he beat. Look what he beat. What he did to Spence and how he did it. That's 3 fights to me. And it took 4 fights out of Spence, right? Yeah, I'm a fighter, so I can tell you when you get punished like that.
Yeah, I was there ringside watching the fight.
It was different. You don't see the years right now, but it sort of takes something out of that person going forward. They still can beat some fights, but it really put a bruise on him. You didn't see Spence fight yet, did you?
No.
Did you hear him name opponent for him to potentially fight? It's been quiet. You see the weight he gained?
Former champion Tim Bradley remains firmly in Terence Crawford's corner, giving him a 30 to 40% chance of defeating Canelo Alvarez. While praising Crawford's superior skill and ring IQ, Bradley voiced concern over Canelo's size and power advantage and whether Crawford can endure his heavy shots. He also cautioned that Crawford's stubbornness could be a liability, warning that if he chooses to trade punches with Canelo, he risks getting clipped.
One more thing. It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, It ain't been like, wow, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Victor Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think it's safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they testing, I'm good.
Robert Garcia gave a candid assessment of Canelo Alvarez's recent approach, particularly after Edgar Berlanga's defeat. He observed that Canelo no longer hunts for knockouts, instead doing just enough to secure the win. Garcia explained that while Alvarez still has knockout power, he now prefers a measured strategy, dropping opponents but often choosing not to finish them, as a way to preserve his body for future challenges.
Able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo.
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself. And not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed.
Virgil Ortiz Jr. is clear about his pick in the Canelo vs. Terence Crawford showdown, confidently backing Canelo to win. He argues that despite Crawford's weight gain to 180 pounds, adding pounds and truly belonging at super middleweight are two very different things.
I don't think he is, but if he beats Canelo, he'll be like my #1 fighter of all time.
You don't think Crawford beats Canelo?
I don't think so. And look, hear me out. I respect Crawford and everything that he's doing, but he just moved up from 147, so I'm just going to treat him as a 147 pounder. He's jumping up 3 weight classes to fight someone who was like the #1 fighter in all of boxing, you know. The jump would be hard, even if it was just like some top 10,
right,
you know.
Bud, would you say he's a very smart fighter?
Yes.
Very calculated,
Yes.
right? Don't you think that maybe he sees something that most people aren't seeing?
I think he does, but the thing is he gonna be able to even like to capitalize on it? Because he's a smaller fighter, and look, I think people are thinking at the aspect of, can Crawford do it? Yes, I think he can do it, but can Canelo do it? And I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does.
Favors him.
Now, Canelo, he has obviously the size advantage, the strength advantage, intellect. I think Crawford edges him out in IQ. I just think the weight difference is going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, like, when I seen Canelo's check hook against Berlanga, that shit was like this. You know, and Canelo's not slow either. Like, this shit was, I didn't see that coming at all. He just dropped him, and I was just like, damn, he still got it. I just think that Crawford just bit off a little more than he can chew, but if he can chew it and he beats him, which I think he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he has 0% chance. I'm just thinking Canelo wins. But if he does, he will be my #1 fighter of all time.
Wow, I always knew that you had a lot of respect and admiration for him.
He stresses Crawford's size disadvantage, warning that taking a clean shot from Canelo would be trouble, and calling it a clear win for the Mexican star. Still, Ortiz acknowledges Crawford's intellect and power, adding that if Crawford pulls off the victory, he'd elevate him to his GOAT list.
I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does.
Favors him.
Now, Canelo, he has obviously the size advantage, the strength advantage, intellect. I think Crawford edges him out in IQ. I just think the weight difference is going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, like, when I seen Canelo's check hook against Berlanga, that shit was like this. You know, and Canelo's not slow either. Like, this shit was, I didn't see that coming at all. He just dropped him, and I was just like, damn, he still got it. I just think that Crawford just bit off a little more than he can chew, but if he can chew it and he beats him, which I think he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he has 0% chance. I'm just thinking Canelo wins. But if he does, he will be my #1 fighter of all time.
Wow, I always knew that you had a lot of respect and admiration.
Do you think Terence Crawford's training will give him the edge against Canelo? Share your predictions in the comments.